What's up guys, Luke Deutschlander here with another video. If you guys like my videos, make sure you like, share, and subscribe and drop a comment down below. In today's video, we're going to be talking about sellers who basically play the pity me, pity this game, and they try and make you basically go to the ends of the earth to get their items, and what they have really isn't all that great anyways. Now, what sparked this video was actually a meetup that I did just the other night, and I kind of figured this is how the deal was going to go. However, you know, I always try and meet a customer no matter what, but I'm going to tell you the story. I'm going to tell you why I played it the way it did, and I'm going to tell you what the outcome was. So check it out. So it was last night. It was like 8 p.m. I had a couple other deals lined up, so I was pretty busy naturally, and this deal was kind of low priority. We talked about this a couple videos back. We talked about basically time management, how important it is to prioritize deals or things that are high priority, and then stuff that just isn't, you know, much of a priority, and then stuff that are basically wants. And this priority was probably a want, or a, you know, maybe push it off even to the next day, just because of the fact that it wasn't going to be a big deal, and I kind of figured that it wasn't going to amount to much. So that being said, it starts off, this guy wants me to drive an hour and a half away for an iPhone 7 and an iMac. And I'm just like, okay, you know, I mean, maybe for the right price, maybe for the right price, depending on what he's got. And he tells me it's a newer iMac. He sends me a picture, and this thing's looking like a dinosaur. So straight off the back, I'm like, first off, you know, if I'm going to drive that far, I got to see the specs on this thing. You know, if it's like a 2011 or a 2012 and it's got really awesome specs somehow, or it's customized, maybe, but probably not. And then he says, oh yeah, man, well, I mean, I can get the thing and everything, and, you know, I'll get this. And I can tell at this point that the guy's kind of talking like, I don't know, he's kind of talking slang. So at this point, let's just put my phone on silent. He, you know, kind of starts blowing up my phone and this and that. And then on the iPhone 7, I ask him about it, and he's like, oh yeah, it works perfect and everything and this and that. And I can just tell that he's got desperation in his voice, and I'm just not really getting a good vibe from this deal. Just because of the fact that, you know, one, he wants me to drive an hour away, so that's not good, and I'm not going to play the little pity me game. As Grant Cardone says, don't be a little bitch. And basically, this guy, he, you know, and I'm not saying be mean to people or anything, but I'm saying don't play into people's games. This guy knew what he was doing, and I could just tell from the way that he was talking that just something wasn't right with his story. So I basically offered him $150 for the iPhone 7 and the iMac. The iPhone 7, I did look it up. It's not iCloud locked or anything like that. It was Sprint. It didn't say bad ESN, but at the same time, you know, I appraised it at that just because who knows. And the iMac, it was kind of a gamble in the dark. I told him it'll be $150. However, if I get there and I inspect the iMac and it's worth less, it's going to be less. He's like, okay, that's cool, man. So he's begging me to drive an hour and a half away. Then I get him to come in about 30 minutes closer, and he's like, okay, can you meet here? And, you know, I kind of just keep blowing it off, and that's one of the best things to do sometimes in this situation when you have a really desperate seller, or a seller that's trying to get you to basically go to the ends of the earth to get to them. Just kind of blow it off and just be like, you know, I got other deals going on, which I did. But even if you don't, just be like, I got other deals going on. You guys got to use that psychology on the customer to basically make them play into you rather than you play into them. You don't want to walk off, you know, and have to drive an hour away just to go get some junk, basically. That's not fun. We're in this business to make money. So that being said, I kind of keep playing him off. And eventually, like I said, the truth comes out, and he goes, well, I guess I got another $5. I'll put it in my gas tank, Luke, and I'll get to a couple towns over, or a couple towns closer to you, he says. Now, this town, ladies and gents, was only about 20 minutes away. So at 20 minutes, what do I got to lose? At this point, it was actually 11 o'clock at night. I'd already got done with all my other deals, got my YouTube videos on, office work, etc. You know, my office is a mess, by the way. I'm doing some major reorganizing, going to be putting some trim up. I'm sure you guys have noticed. Obviously, the painting here is fresh. You've seen it in my other videos, but I'm still finishing out this room. So I've just had so much inventory in here that nobody could get to the back window and the baseboard down there to put the trim on and everything. So it's going to be nice and finished soon. Back to the video. Basically, the whole point of it is he held out for 3 hours telling me that he didn't have any money and that I needed to drive all the way an hour and a half to him. Then it came down to an hour. And then finally, he scrapes up $5 and somehow gets about 45 minutes closer to me. At this point, it's a 20-minute drive. And I say, okay, you know what, man? I said, I'll come this late at night, but it's going to be $100. But I said, if I get there, and this is one big thing you got to say to customers like this, especially these desperate customers. One, guys, don't ever drive an hour and a half to them. I mean, unless you're going to be making, you know, $1,000, don't ever drive that far. 2, I told them if I get there and I find any problems with anything and stuff doesn't add up to what you said, it's going to be priced at my discretion. And he's like, what's that mean? I'm like, priced at my discretion as in the worst outcome, that's the price you're going to get so I can still make a profit. And he's like, all right, man, that's fine. Everything works good. And I'm like, does the iPhone power on? He's like, well, it does, man. It works great, but it's dead. Now, here's the funny and interesting thing, and this is where I want to talk about psychology, and this is where you guys are going to learn in sales, and some of the stuff that you learn in my paid course, and just kind of being around me being your mentor, your coach, being in my paid group, where, you know, like a lot of free people, I see people left and right in the free groups getting scammed out there and losing money. This guy was so desperate, and he was so much of a BSer or a liar, whatever you want to call him. And, you know, sometimes these people, I like to think that they're good people, but maybe the fact that they're so desperate, they actually lie and they don't even think that they're lying. But here's the kicker. I said, okay, so the phone's dead. Can I bring a charger and charge it? And instead of him, you know, kind of choking up and being like, oh, don't bring a charger, man, don't bring a charger, because he knows it's not going to turn on, he says, go ahead and bring a charger. So I always got a charger with me anyway. So I'm like, okay, good. So I'm thinking in my head, maybe the iPhone 7's good and everything. So I show up there. And guess what? The iMac, this guy, I see this guy in the gas station, and I can just tell he's got, he's like 40 years old. He's got a flat bill on like this, kind of rough looking. So I don't know, maybe fresh out of jail, maybe drugs. I'm not sure. But he's pacing back and forth in the gas station. He's got this iMac plugged in. iMac's a dinosaur, by the way. But I've got high hopes at this point. Thing won't power on. So I get in there, and he tries blaming it on the outlet and saying the cord's bad. He's like, oh, man, I personally swear this thing turns on. And I'm just like, brother, I do this, you know, every single day. And I know for a fact that the outlets in here are good, and I'm sure that cord's probably fine, too. So we got busted at this point. So he's like, okay. And I'm like, how about the iPhone 7? So I grabbed the iPhone 7 from him. There's a very slight screen separation at the very top, which tells me the screen either might have been replaced or worse, it was knocked loose a little bit and the LCD's either broken behind it or disconnected or something. So I get that and I'm like, okay. So I plug the iPhone in, he says it's going to work, it's going to turn on, doesn't even turn on. Now, when I say don't turn on, it didn't turn on initially, but I did leave it on the charger and I did get the phone to get power because the home button was starting to make the clicking noise. Pro tip, if you guys have a phone and basically the screen won't come on and you think maybe it's completely dead, if you leave it charged for a little bit, even if the screen won't come on, if the home button starts giving that haptic feedback, that kind of vibration, that means the phone's on, but the screen just doesn't work. So this iPhone does turn on, but I mean, we got a dead LCD at this point. I can't check it out at all. You know, and I really didn't even want to pull the SIM card. You can pull the SIM card and run the IMEI, but it was dark out. You know, we met at a gas station. I mean, sure, there was lights, but at this point, I didn't even want to get it back out of my car because I'm just thinking there, like, you know, if I got to sell this thing like dead as parts or iCloud locked, which I don't like to buy those phones anyways, this is like a $60 phone. You know, it was in nice shape other than those two little defects, but it's like probably 50, 60 bucks. Luckily, I do have a friend that does really cheap screen repairs. Maybe I'll get the screen repaired, you know, pretty much for free and resell it, but it's like, this is a waste of my time. And I just kept telling myself, I can't believe this guy tried to get me to drive an hour and a half away. And so why I'm making this video is I don't want to see anybody else out there have this happen to you because it's terrible. I mean, just imagine if this was like my only deal for that day, which it wasn't, thank goodness, but it was kind of like an end deal where I was like, you know what, I'm going to take my girlfriend, we're going to go for a late night drive, and we'll just check it out. You know, like, let's see what this guy's got. And we go from there, and like I said, I pull up, and it's just not good. I mean, it's basically trash. So at this point, I mean, I felt bad for the guy, and this other thing, don't let your guys' feelings get in the way. Business is logical. It's not about emotion. Obviously, it's good to have compassion for people, but this guy knew what he was doing. I mean, he was trying to get me to drive an hour and a half. He was trying to sucker me. And see, like I said, the thing about being in a small town is people don't see people like me out there every day. People don't think you're an expert. They think, oh, maybe you're just some random guy off Craigslist, and they're just going to scam you. And that's not how it works with me. So, you know, I'm checking everything out, and I'm like, man, you know, I said, I feel for you. I know you drove this all this way, but I said, this iMac doesn't turn on. Your iPhone 7 doesn't turn on. And I said, you're lucky that I can get feedback from the home button, and I know how to check devices out, so I can actually give you something for this. But I said, there's no way I'm giving you $100 or $150. And I said, I don't even want the iMac, so I let him keep the iMac, and I ended up giving him like $10 for this iPhone 7. And I felt bad because, you know, I could tell the dude was broke, and he said he needed to get home to his girlfriend and blah, 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 and she's an hour away. Back to being the pity seller, all his problems become your problems, and that sometimes makes them hike the price up on the items. Don't let them do that to you guys. Don't let them take advantage of you, because if you do that, you're going to lose money and you're going to get taken advantage of. You're going to get swindled. It's basically swindling. Like I said, they pity you into giving them a better deal. Don't get swindled. You can't let them do that. So that being said, I hope this helps somebody out. Like I said, I got the phone for 10 bucks. I'm sure I'm going to get 60 to 70 bucks for it. And if I replace the screen, maybe a little more if it shows up clean ESM, but I doubt it. So that being said, this is just something to keep in mind, kind of a reminder. It was kind of a funny video last night. It was me and my girlfriend, and then I brought my cousin with too, because I was like, hey, you want to go for a ride? You know, it's always kind of fun when the days die down. You know, I'm done consulting with people, done coaching people, I'm phone flipping, done listing stuff. It's fun to just take a drive sometimes and be like, well, hopefully the deal turns out. It's kind of like my relaxation time, I guess. It's kind of fun for me. But I hope this video helps some people out there, and just really hope that it kind of, you know, opens your mind that people can do this stuff. And sometimes even if you call their bluff, they're still hiding stuff. So just kind of keep that in mind. Don't trust people unless you know them really well, and even then, don't trust people. And, you know, in this industry, more or less, these customers, because a lot of them, like I said, are desperate, and they're willing to play their pity off on you to take advantage of you to get more money out of you. So that being said, I hope all of you like this video. Hope you get something from it, and I apologize for my voice. I'm a little bit sick right now. I've had no voice for like the past 2 days. I don't know if it's allergies or what, but it's probably, you know, Wisconsin, where yesterday it was 65 degrees out, and now today it's 30 degrees. I got a really bad cold or something, so it's been terrible. But that being said, thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for watching the video, and like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.